Elizabeth Chatwell is a frazzled plate spinner. A single full-time working mom to sons Max, 10, and Owen, 6, she attempts to gracefully juggle teaching, cooking, and laundry, all while taxing her sons to basketball, t-ball, karate, and school. She draws strength and courage from God, her family, and her amazing friends. She is still searching for balance, a steaming hot latte, and happily ever after. Her piece is entitled, Motherhood. Is there any extra credit for this?
It's hard to follow that. For 20 years, my identity has been wrapped up in my career as a high school English teacher. I teach college prep courses, advanced placement literature, composition, and critical thinking. I have never read a novel, short story, poem, or essay that I could not analyze and conquer. I prepare students to face down and excel at impossible tests of composition and analysis. I teach. I inspire. I motivate, push, cajole, threaten. No, you may not go to the office right now. Spit your gum in this can and put your can in that seat, and don't roll your eyes at me. This is my world. My seniors labor, sweat, and pore over their writings. For 50 minutes nearly every day, adolescents enter my classroom where I hold court. I command their attention. I am the sage on the stage. So when it came time for motherhood, bring it on. There is nothing original that I can possibly tell you about my pregnancies. They were relatively uneventful. I held firmly to my faith in preparation and organization. Birthing classes, check. Tour of the hospital maternity wing, check. Selecting a pediatrician, check. To say nothing of the nursery, which was gutted, rebuilt, painted, and carpeted. Video camera, check. Onesies, washed and folded, check. Birthing plan, check. I was prepared. I was organized. I am now embarrassed to admit that video exists of a, not of that. A video exists of a very pregnant girl commenting that the only thing we still needed was baby powder. Baby powder. Really? Baby powder was the last thing on my mind in the delivery room. I don't need to tell you how all that preparation and organization played out there. Birthing plan? Thanks. No. Where are the drugs? I learned that one does not get any sort of recognition for giving birth naturally. There is no extra credit in labor and delivery. There are no gold stars to be won. Your name does not even get read over the hospital PA system. There is only pushing and waiting and praying and pushing and yelling and maniacally pushing and a whole lot of medical personnel and pushing and yelling for drugs and crying and pushing, and no gold stars, and no extra credit. Motherhood is a mighty lesson in humility. Since then, I have spent a lot of time waiting and praying and pushing and yelling and crying and sometimes asking for drugs. Because evidently that is what the delivery room prepares us for. The pain and work I put in there seem incredibly similar to the work I'm doing now. Now I spend a lot of time waiting to drop them off, to finish karate, to finish basketball, to pick them up, waiting for the fever to break, for the antibiotics to work, waiting for my worrying to stop. I spend a lot of time praying. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my sons to keep. May angels watch me through the night and maybe give me an extra dose of patience and an hour or two of additional sleep before daylight. I spend a lot of time pushing them out the door, up the stairs, into a desk chair, pushing them to make good choices, to not just get the work done, but to do it well, pushing them to want more for themselves and for others, pushing them to forgive each other, to forgive me for yelling. And yes, there is yelling. Yelling at my boys to get dressed, to pick up their dirty clothes, pick up their toys. Stop picking your nose. Brush your teeth, do your homework. Stop touching each other. And crying, because I thought it would be easier. Crying because the garage door is stuck again. Crying because my son is feeling bullied. Crying because what if I'm failing and there's no way to check my progress? Crying because some days it is easier to teach other people's children. Crying because being a single mom is a most thankless job. Crying because my sons are so beautiful and loving despite my yelling and pushing. Crying because I am so blessed and forgiveness is so big and God is so good. At 2:50, the afternoon bell sounds. My seniors file out, exhausted, spent. We are tired. But now my work really begins. My boys run into my classroom to greet me, sometimes with hugs. They talk over each other to tell me about their days. They make a lot of noise. And I know that we will go home and have Oreos and build Legos and argue and pray and love each other. Because before becoming a mother, I thought the pushing and crying would end in the delivery room. But now that I'm a mom, I see that preparation and organization don't always work. Analysis and critical thinking skills won't comfort a crying child. Motherhood has revised my life. My sons give my life a purpose and a joy that I never felt with academics. I no longer measure my success in GPAs and standardized test scores. Gold stars no longer warm my heart. Instead, it's the quiet love of little arms around my neck, the sweet smell of my son cradled into my lap, soft, gentle hands on my cheeks whispering, "I love you, Mom." Love you too, buddy. And that's all the extra credit I need.